Hi, this is the Hip Hop Talk podcast, I guess, or music podcast. I don't remember what I called it earlier in the beginning. I'm right here with Bethany Larsen, Bravo's #1 singer, artist, performer. Bethany Larsen right here. Want to say hi?
Hello.
So, follow her on Instagram. What is it?
Yeah.
Bethany.music.
Yep. Got it.
Betany.
Bethh.
Oh yeah, I always forget that. Sorry. Bethny.music. Right?
Yep, that's it.
There you go. Follow her right now.
Actually, really quick side story. I was out in the woods one day and I was singing, and I was really young. Like, this was maybe 12 years old or something. And I remember, and I was like behind people's houses, not behind my house. I was like kind of in the woods, like back behind some other, like the neighbor's house. And I'm singing, and I just hear like someone just like, be quiet. And I like ran home. So sad. But anyway, I just like can never forget that like super awkward, like, oh my gosh, someone heard me singing. Like, I thought I was alone in the woods.
Wow, that's
Anyway.
funny.
But yeah, I mean, I would just like sing stuff all the time. So I don't know what the first song I like, maybe do you consider it like the first song I wrote down lyrics?
Yeah, well, what did you just start singing a song out of the top of your head and then that was it? Like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, so I would start with like playing songs that I knew and that my friends knew, and I'd have my friends over and we would just like sit down at the keyboard, and we also had this old organ. Yeah. I don't know why our family had an organ. It was a little organ. I don't know. And so we would play at that organ, and I would play Fall for You by, isn't that by Secondhand Serenade?
I believe so.
And just like little, I don't know, songs that we all knew, and we would just like sing along. And then when I was by myself, I would just start like playing some chords and making up some lyrics based on like boys that I liked or whatever. So yeah, that's probably.
Well, that's always one
first.
influence for it, I guess.
Yeah, that's like the influence though.
Hey, whatever works, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember the title at least of the first song? Because I remember mine when I was younger.
Oh, yeah, and I was super sad because I lost the lyrics. So, and I taught it all to my friends. My friends like loved it. Either that or they just wanted to like support me. But they'd always be like, "Oh yeah, let's play your song." And it was, gosh, I don't even remember the title.
Hey, it happens. It happens.
But it's about it. No, it's like about my first crush or something, and it was like leaving you. No, I don't remember. Something about it started, the lyrics started out, I remember like this, how the song starts. In the dark of the night, when I first saw you. Oh gosh. It's like kind of coming back.
No worries.
But yeah, that's what it was about. I don't know if I have the title. What was the title of your first song?
Very edgy.
What?
It was very, very edgy. We'll
Cannot be repeated.
Well, it was not like that. It's just when I say it, people are like, "What?" We'll just say "Dark Hole." How about that?
Oh, okay.
And people are like, there's so many different contexts that come with just those two words that I always get different looks when I say it. So it's like,
yeah, that's interesting. Like, what were you going through at the time, right? It's like,
well, it's 'cause it's funny. People are always like, "Oh, when it comes to your music, what is the thing that made you start writing music?" And then everybody always has like this very like noble sounding or deep story, and I'm just like, I was upset, I was pissed, and I used to listen to music just to kind of get away from things. Yeah. And then at one point, I thought to myself, I was hearing this song, and I was like, man, this song, I like the melody and I love the way it sounds, but it doesn't fit me. It's not my words, it's somebody else's words, and I can relate to the emotion they hold in their words, but that's not me. I could probably write something for myself. And then I just wrote. I didn't record till maybe like a year later after I started writing, but
Okay.
usually it was just writing. And then I had somebody who was like, "Yeah, why do you write good? Look, why don't you just rap it?" And I was like, "I don't know."
That just came as like a one-off comment from a friend.
Well, because I used to write in a notebook, right? I used to have this friend from a chemistry class. His name was Lisandro. I know that I still know him, and then like he would look through my notebook sometimes when I would like go to the restroom, whatever, and he would start reading. What I'm like, dude, why are you going through my shit? And then he's like, "Fool, it's
Oh my
just sick,
gosh.
dog. I understand this and I relate to it." And I'm like, I guess, whatever you say, man. And then he was like, "Yeah, you should pursue this. This is good stuff." And then I would kind of just write like stupid things or like whatever I felt or kind of the things I thought were funny in that notebook, just to see what he would say. And I'd be
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to do that." And then yeah, music for me has always been like that. It's started out as something kind of just for me to vent out. It's not something noble, but at the same time
Right.
though, I would be happy if it would help others in their struggle through their life in case they want something to relate to or just something to laugh at, I have,
Yeah, for sure.
and that's how I got my start in music. But what was your like who are the artists that inspire you to write? Like like what are your main like influences when you write? Like do you have a certain style or
Yeah, I think I do. Well, like most recently, we just bought a record player from a thrift store, and we have all these records. And I was playing a Billy Joel record, and he's singing. So, like, anytime I can just like really hear somebody's personality come out in a song, makes me want to like write. So it's not necessarily someone, but anyway, Billy Joel sings this song, and at one part of the song, he like just is being like sarcastic and you can hear it in his voice and you're like that's so funny, he's like such a funny guy, and he let that come out in his song. And I just thought like, man, I just want to go record now. And like, I don't
wow.
know, it's just like stuff like that where you're like, that was not a like cut and dry performance where it's like perfectly, like he just kind of like let his personality come out, and I like that.
Yeah, a lot of artists can be able to do that. It's crazy how much effort goes into it because as for me, I used to when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm pretty sure it kind of probably the same way for you, right? Like, did you learn the ropes by yourself, or did you kind of like have somebody to teach you?
No, like no one has like a path. There's no path. It's not like, yeah. That's what I struggle with because it's like, what do I do now? Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, because for me, it was like, oh yeah, do you want to? There's so many different paths you can take, and then like I didn't have a certain style, kind of just was going, and I didn't have somebody to be like, look, you need to put more emotion into it. You need to what's the there's this girl I know named Danielle, right? She's somebody who sponsored me when I went to England 2 years ago to go record there. She used to
Cool.
have this saying because she's British, and I never heard this before in my life. Somebody to ever tell me this. When you're starting to rap or sing, what you want to do is paint a picture. So you have to put color in your words. And I'm like, color in my? What are you talking about? I guess she meant like put more passion into it. But I've never heard
Mm,
somebody say, color your words, please. And I'm just like,
yeah.
huh. But yeah, for me, it was mostly for my issue was that. What issues did you face when it comes to like music when you were like first starting out? Like, you, aside from like kind of being lost and not knowing what to do.
Well, I think it gets like really jumbled very quickly. I have lots of ideas and lots of songs that just kind of like come out, and so I'll be like, oh, let me just record this on my phone. Like once I got a phone, so I'm like maybe like talking about when I'm, I don't know, 16, 17, 18. Um, Once I got a phone, it would just be like, okay, let me record something quickly and like I'll go back to it and I'll like make the whole song. This is just the part of it that I like based on whatever emotion I was feeling. But then I like I start racking up all these ideas and all these recordings, and then I feel overwhelmed, and then I like don't want to sing anything. And that's super frustrating.
Yeah, I can say the same because a lot of it for me is the editing. Like I have to edit my own
Yeah,
stuff, and hearing your voice thousands of times, and then like you're like,
right.
because when you hear yourself so often, you know you hear the mistakes that you make, that you hear that most people probably won't hear, because you
Right.
develop an ear for it, and you're like, man, I could have said that word a little bit better. I could have enunciated. I could have put a little bit more effort into it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, man, I gotta re-record it. And then I got that part that I wanted right, but then the other part, it's either you either do it straight or you have to cut and edit like as you go,
Yeah. Yeah, and cutting is always harder to make it sound like
natural.
fluid.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that too. Once I get to the recording part, then yes, that is also super frustrating.
that yeah, that's what it is for me. But I have to. That's my thing. But I've noticed you've always been somebody who seems to do more of like a live type of performance. Like you focus more on the live stuff, right?
Yeah, I think that's because I just like people. I just like being around people and seeing their reactions and then inviting them to play with me. So I really like the jamming and that kind of stuff, and I just don't do it enough. So yeah, I like to perform live more than I like to just sit and like record by myself. But you have to do that in order to get music, so then you can go play it live. So
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, though, if as long as you have like lyrics and a certain melody in your head, you can probably perform it live without having to record it necessarily.
oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've got like 5 songs that are like, okay, here's my latest songs that I've made up in the last 6 months that are mine, and I would perform them, and I have not recorded all of them. So yeah, it's like they're well, like I guess they're on my phone, and then they're in my head, and then I wrote down the lyrics and the chords that go with them or whatever. But
All right,
I
so
don't have it recorded.
yeah. So how many songs have you like officially made? Because obviously you have like scraps and like ideas. Like how many songs have you
Yeah.
officially made? Like it's written down. I mean, or yeah.
So I wrote a CD of 13, I think, songs. Yeah, 13 songs. They were all mine. And those took a long time to record. Those were like all live instruments. So there's nothing electronic about it. And I played like clarinet and harmonica. I don't know if I had played harmonica in those songs, but just every instrument was mine. And I really liked messing around with all the instruments that I had on hand. And so I made that CD so I could say those 13 songs. And then plus when I got back into writing like last year,
Yeah.
just been those few that I've recorded. Well, those are recordings. And then maybe just like a handful on top of that that haven't been recorded.
Okay.
But, so
So,
like not that many. Like
well, do you use all of those to perform when you're performing live, or no?
oh, I have not done a show for myself.
But you've done a lot of like the covers and stuff like that, right? Because I know you like to focus on covers as well.
Yeah, because when I play for farmers markets and like people that like just want to have a good time. And sometimes I'm like, well, it would be more fun if they knew the song I was playing. And so the only time I've played my songs was just like in the mix. I'm like playing a cover and then I'll play my song and get no reaction. And then I'll like go back to playing covers. But I've never done like a showcase of just my music. I think that's kind of a next step, maybe.
Okay, so I have a few of your songs pulled up, right? This is right now off the top, right here on SoundCloud. So
Oh,
let's.
I was like, on what?
Okay, so tell me about the songs that you written, like Illusion. I'm kind of curious about those.
Those were the ones that I did. Those are part of the 13 songs,
On the
the
CD?
CD that I made for my. So I made the CD for my family. What year was that? Like 2012. I want to say it was like I was still in high school. I'm not sure.
It says 5 years ago, I think. For what you
Yeah,
posted it, I don't know if that's when you made it
yeah,
though.
and then yeah, that's kind of when I uploaded it too. I was like, oh, let me take the best ones from my CD.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that I think that song has clarinet in it. And I was just like so free back then, like totally able to mess around. Like I think it's Illusion. Like that song's really interesting because I have it's like it's just me. It's just my voice, but I'm talking. I'm like asking myself a question, and I'm like answering myself in the song, like a musical kind of, because musical or songs for musicals, you've got like two people talking to each other, and
Yeah.
like it was just like I didn't care that the song was not a traditional pop song or like a verse, chorus, bridge.
Yeah, it broke the
Um,
template, the standard template.
yeah, and it was like fun, but I don't really do that so much anymore. I don't know.
Would you ever consider like redoing a track, or are you fine with are you the type of person just to move on forward from that?
Oh, that's a good question. I want to leave it how it is.
So you would never
I
go back to like make like a better quality version of it.
uh not like that song in particular. Maybe a song that like only if it was gonna be on the radio or something and they're like, "Oh, we need this to be 3 minutes, not however long."
No, I'm not saying like
Or
to change the template. I mean like it's up the quality because that I've heard that track,
oh,
and when I hear that track, I actually enjoy it because what I like about it the most, I think, is the piano keys from it because
yeah.
it's very interesting. It's very like do 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 some of that something in that rhythm, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. Was that based off of anything like the melody, or did you or come up with that on your own?
I mean, it's probably based off of something, but totally no, I came up with all that stuff on my own.
Yeah, because the idea and concept is good. Like if it were to be polished, it would sound I think it would be a good track to put out there.
Yeah, I haven't thought about going back and like for those songs I haven't thought about getting those, but yeah, that would be cool to like I've got those and I could just polish them versus being like, "Oh, I have to make new stuff." Yeah.
So let's say that track, right, or one of the first ones that you recorded. Compare that to the one that you recorded the most, like recent, and that would be, I think, Split Second, right? You double check. Yeah, Split
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
So, what do you see between the difference of those, besides quality? Like from how you were in then and your style then to how you are now.
It's definitely more canned, like in the for good or worse, like I just always will do like the same layout because I think that would sound good to other people or like it's easy to perform. Now I'm playing guitar. And so the more recent song is just guitar so that I could like easily perform it. So I just recorded it with guitar. Um, and yeah, it's in the layout of like any popular pop song so that performing it could be easier. I think that's the main difference. Like I wasn't ever wanting to share my music before when I was younger, or I didn't think about like, oh, how would I perform this live? I can't because I've got like all these harmonies and all these instruments and
Well, usually artists tend to build up bands and people that kind of do that stuff for them when they're
right.
performing. I feel like if you did that, it'll bring it out and flourish more. But I mean,
That's true.
what I mean is like experience wise, because don't you feel like you came a long way from how you were then to how you are now?
I don't know if I have. I mean, there's no like classes in between now and then or like any extra stuff that I've learned other than and then I like took a break for a while because I like went to school, like went to college, did not major in anything music, was kind of not doing that much with music, got married, kind of not doing much with music. And then I was like, wow, what am I doing with my life? I need to do music. And so I kind of picked up right where I left off. So I don't know if I really like gained experience between like my latest song and Illusion, like you're saying. But
I would say so because okay, take the videos that you made for example, because you also do like you used to do the comedy sketches, the comedy
yeah,
cover sketches. Well, first of all, how do you even come up with that type of idea? Because I thought that was interesting because that's what made me notice your stuff.
right. That is that's when I was not doing anything with music and I was like, okay, what am I going to do that would just be like little and funny and fun and like just simple to do and would like make me do something with music. And then I thought, oh, I'll just start this like Instagram and uh gosh, what's his name? King. Nate King? No. There was this one guy that was like super influential, but he didn't do anything with music. He just did like funny little short videos. And so I wanted to do the same thing. And so just doing that like kept me doing music for like a year.
Yeah, because I was wondering like
So
what happened
that's
to those because I noticed you brought them back for a little bit and then you kind of like decided to stop from it.
yeah. And I stopped because I was so into I would post at night because like I didn't see any metrics or anything, but I just thought, oh, when I post at night, the most people will see it. So then I would go to sleep and I'd wake up in the morning and I'd like first thing just like look at my phone, see how many likes it had, and be like sad if it was good or sad if it was like not that many likes. No, if it was good, I'd be like, oh, I'm so happy. Like, look at all these likes that I got. And it just felt so bad after a while. It was like, this is not why I started this Instagram. Like I
Yeah.
started it because I wanted to do more music. And so I was like, I don't know. And then it just kind of stopped cold after that. Because I was like, I don't like how I feel in the morning being like, oh, how well did my video go? And like stressed about
Yeah, because it becomes a little
like,
obsessive, no?
yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's really hard to find a balance. Like you want to have a brand and you want to be on Instagram and you want to be on all the social media, but I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about social media. Like I don't know if I want to use it at all, and then sometimes I want to use it.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Dish out your thoughts. I'm curious.
well, the main thing is when I've like kind of stopped getting on. So my main platform is Instagram, and so I've stopped scrolling through. Like I never look at my feed, and I miss stuff. But I also don't waste any time, and I feel really good. If I ever like get on Instagram, it's because I'm like messaging someone
Yeah,
or they made a comment. I got rid of like all the notifications. If someone likes a photo or a video, like
you don't say it.
I don't get that. But I get it. I will get a notification if they comment because I don't want to miss like actual messages from
Mm-hmm.
people. And then but I feel like Instagram is supposed to just like suck you in. Like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep you on. Then you'll see more ads and you'll buy stuff. And so everybody wants like their videos to be seen, even there if they're like your good friend, they still want like all the views because this is their business and they're just trying to promote. And like it makes me not want to participate in it because I don't want to be like I want to be like, oh yeah, everybody watch my videos, like see my stuff. But I don't really. I'm like, I don't want to put that on anybody. I don't want that put on me. So it's like this two-way.
It's funny to me because I kind of understand where you're coming from. It's like, yeah, I like to promote my stuff, but I don't want to just throw it in your face. A lot of
Yeah.
people do that, but then again, for some reason, I guess it works. So there's either you do that, you kind of lose a little bit of dignity, or you kind of just, let it just be. But at the same
Oh,
time, though,
that's the question. I'm like, do I need social media to be successful? Like what does success mean? So I like, when you really ask those questions, you're like, why am I even using social media? Or like how is it actually helping me? Is it is it helping me to post like every week? Like make sure I always post once a week or once a day or whatever it is. Like for some people, yes, it definitely is their business, but I don't know.
Well, we wouldn't see you as an influencer anytime soon, right?
Yeah, like I don't want to.
Yeah, because influencers to me are a little strange because they're always like, yeah, buy this tea or something that doesn't work, but like they'll sponsor it because they make money from it. You know, those
Right.
ads usually run for like $500. Like the
Yeah.
companies pay big money for that stuff. But
Right.
my first, I got off tangent kind of a little bit, but from what I was trying to explain prior was from the stuff that you made, like the comedy sketches and skits and from the music that you do from there, the
Yeah.
covers. I feel like you came a long way from the music that you played before because you can hear the quality change. You can hear the more passion to how, because you were having fun with the comedy skits. I'm guessing, right?
Oh yeah, the difference between like yeah, those videos were not about like the music itself or like how like pretty my voice is or anything. Well, some videos actually are. I was like trying to have my voice sound really good, but most of the videos are just like super silly. So yeah.
But yeah, it's come a long way from what I've heard when it comes to like I said, Illusion to now. I hear Split Second, and it's not a bad song. It's actually relatively good. It just needs a drum line, but like aside from that, though,
You're like it just needs some more instruments.
because I know why you did it.
Yeah.
Because you told me you're like I rather make a song and make music that I can put out there and I can use to actually perform with than focus on the recording side
Right.
of it. Because yeah, eventually you'll find somebody who might be able to help you with that. For me, when it
That's what
comes
I would love to do. Yeah.
for me when I'm more of the type of person that needs to be independent, so I need to learn from people. When I first started making music, when I had this terrible issue of being monotone when I spoke the words I written down, because you read it and you kind of just read it like
Oh.
if you're like reading, right? You're like,
Yeah.
one day I learned this. And for you and I, it's kind of like leaps and bounds and differences because when you kind of have to put yourself out there when you sing, you have to do all the more effort and everything because you have, hold on, you have to hit the higher notes and it kind of shows. For me, it's like you have to find the right words, right areas to do the voice influxes and everything because the makes a difference. It's like this. It's like ain't never have you seen in your lifetime. And it's like, ain't never have you seen in your lifetime. See, it's like the difference is leaps and bounds
Right.
that you learn. I had somebody that I met when I was younger because I had this friend, Oliver. He's somebody that jumped into music with me, right? He's like, man, you're always working on writing and everything, but you don't really go out to push yourself, you know? I know this guy, and he does a lot of like recording and editing. I'm like, okay, cool. So go with him and go record something. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Never met the guy, cool guy. When I met him for a little while, little strange, but he was cool. I recorded on his stuff, but I didn't know how to do it. But he wasn't afraid to tell me, like, look, you need to put more passion to it. You need to try. You need to read. Like, you need to put yourself into what you're writing because what you're writing is good. It's like some stuff I've never seen before,
Hmm.
and you need to be able to show that in the recording. I would record on his stuff, but like it felt awkward to me because I was in somebody else's home, somebody else's area trying to record. So what I did
Right.
was I bought my own stuff because I'm very independent in the sense that like I'll buy my own mic and I'll practice at my house. I'll practice with the recordings I
Yeah.
had. So it took me about like 2 years to improve when it comes to that. So I'm the type of person to learn and try to do things on my own, which is why eventually ended up kind of losing contact with that person because of not only their issues, but I do appreciate what they taught me though because they didn't know I was watching
Yeah.
them because I'm the type of person that learns and kind of I'm very keen on what I see. I'm very analytical, so
Hmm.
I'll try to learn everything even though they're not teaching me.
Right.
So I'm always like that. But when you told me that you do that, I'm like, yeah, that's a good thought because I from my perspective, it's a lot harder to be able to push stuff out there easier to give more quantity to the people that and being consistent. For me, it's like quality and just pushing stuff out there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I try to make myself as top quality as I can. So I learned from that. But for you, I feel like yeah, as a singer, a writer, not only that, you do instruments too. There's so much there that you have to work with that it's a commodity, in my opinion. Because all I have to do is find somebody to record your instruments, boom,
Hmm.
lay it out for you, edit your vocals for you, record them for you. clean them up, master it, and then put it out there. And then you're set because all the stuff that you made is all you, and then you can just focus on what you enjoy the most, which is singing,
Right.
recording. For me, yeah, that seems ideal. But for me, when it comes to when I do this, I have a feeling like I need to learn this stuff for me, just because I don't want anybody trying to mess with me when I'm like,
Hmm.
if I make it later on, because there's always people who are like, yeah, you know what? Sorry, dog. This is my recording. I can't give it to you
Yeah.
if you change companies or whatever, you know. So I try to be as very independent as I am.
Right.
But that's just me.
That's cool. Yeah.
But I feel like you have more of a freedom with it though too, which is kind of which is I think is amazing because you can at least focus on the performance side of it all, and you could just write and you could string. For me, I have to have certain like instruments in the background. For me, it's harder to. I always feel awkward performing. That's what I need more like
Hmm.
strength in, because I'm gonna start performing like within like in 2 weeks. But I need
Oh,
to,
really?
yeah, I just need to rehearse a lot of my stuff, and kind of harder because a lot of my stuff tends to have singers in it. So I have to make a difference where it's like, let's say for what we made, right? Smiles Now.
Right.
Singer part, if you remember it.
It doesn't.
Wow.
It's not a one man show. Don't have to go alone.
You see, like,
Take my hand when lights are blinding. Yeah.
you see, with that, you could just do that, and then you throw your part in there, and then you're good, you know. But for me, since I write in verses, I have to have something in the middle of that. So like, if I'm performing live, I have to be like, man, I need to bridge this gap somehow without me trying to pretend to know that I can sing or something like that, you know, or try to like force myself to sing when I can't, when I know I can't. So if I were to do that, but like, it's not a one man show. You don't have to go. I don't know. It's different, you know. That's why it's a little bit harder for me to have to gauge, because I have to think of a different melody for it that fits for me.
So, do we both have the same problem where we're like, if we had people to perform with, we would be able to perform our songs and it'd be great?
Yeah, because I have certain songs I can do. Like, there's a few. It's like, it's me, and you're the picture of perfection. Because that one I wrote, and I wrote it with my voice in mind. You get me? So if I
Right.
wrote it with, like, for instance, one of the reasons why I was caught onto your music, because when I saw your comedy videos and the mix and match with the singing, you reminded me of Jess, the girl I work with now when I do songs with, because she's from here. She's always busy for the most part because she works a lot, but that's
Okay.
that's she is like, her voice helps a lot when it comes to like surface, like on the surface I'm calm, because like, I wrote that with her in mind. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is a big issue for me. But again, if I write it, it depends on how I write it with somebody in mind, you know. That's why it
Right.
was a big help when you wrote Smiles Now. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool that you wrote the chorus. It saves me time. I've never had that
Yeah.
before. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But it just it's an interesting concept. But I have to try to write stuff for me that fit me, that
Right.
kind of just free flows and goes. You know, that way I don't have to like make up for what I don't have.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Like making parts for other voices is really good experience, and I think it's fun too. So like doing collaborations is really cool.
But that's also the double edged sword. If it's not there, then what do you do?
Yeah. It depends. Well, it depends on the collaboration because like right now I'm trying to have I have a song that I just want a guy to sing, and there's somebody that I met that I sent over the music to him, and I'm like, "Hey, like I just want to see what it sounds like." I've never written a song for a voice that was like a male voice, but he hasn't done it yet. but yeah, like I want to go that route where like what if I didn't sing all my music, and what if I wrote for voices that were higher than mine, or like I don't know, it's cool to think about. Like I don't have to always perform my own music.
That's true. Because like a lot of people tell me, like, yeah, there's money into like ghostwriting, and I'm like, yeah, but the same
I know it's
time
not,
though. At the
but you
same
don't want to
time
only do
though.
that.
Exactly. For me, it's like I don't know if I want somebody else singing my word or rapping my words. It's weird to me.
You'd
It's
be
just
like,
like
I want to sing it myself. But there's some things that I think,
the Julia Michaels route. Like look at her. Like she used to write songs for other artists all the time, and now she has that issue song that everybody likes. But because she was a
mm,
producer, nobody knew, and then she made her own music, and she's doing well so far. But like I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know if I can do that. It's just interesting to me. Um,
yeah,
that's my performance issue though. Is like trying to figure out how to do that, and then I have to a lot of it because I have to do everything alone, which is fine because
mm,
I'm very independent that way. I'll make it work, but for you though, I like I said, I see a lot of like the content that you make, and it's really great content. That's cool though that you can kind of just go up to somebody, start playing the guitar in the middle of nowhere, just start singing.
right, yeah. But you could do that same thing with just like a beat.
Yeah, but I need to carry a beat with me. It's like okay, I'm
Oh
gonna play
yeah,
this.
you can carry it
I need a
drop with you
boombox like back in the day. Okay.
on your shoulder. That'd
Yeah.
be legit. Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool. I'm like picturing you downtown here, just like jamming.
I don't know. I kind of want to travel eventually, like around this area. Well, around more areas, but like I don't know. I feel like my songs aren't like performance songs. You know, a lot of people want like hype songs or songs that are like that's not like too down. You know, like I can do like songs that I've made like hooligans and stuff like that. But again, the issue is a 3 minute song cut in half is about minute and a half to 2 minutes
Mhm.
almost, and it's like again I have to make up for what's not there, which is like I did that song with Kern. Again, I did a song with my friend Oliver. Like I told you that first song I
Yeah.
remade, and that first song is why I made the CD I did now, the mixtape I did now, because I remade it recently, and it's leaps and bounds in quality. It's so different from how it was, but it sounds
Right.
amazing now, and I'm happy with it. Because for me, it's like I don't want to leave something that I know is not finished, or that's not the best that I can be. But I still have the old recordings. Like you can compare it now and then. You'll be like, dang, that's different. But again, the issue falls on the fact that like I did it in a collaborative effort, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But when it comes to like your music though, what's the worst what's the worst like negative comment you've ever got? Like comment like from somebody, whether it's like, live or whatever. I'm just curious. I'm always curious about this.
Oh.
You ever had a negative feeling people like hearing your content or whatever?
I think I
That's,
had like 2 comments on my Instagram, but that now that I like look back, I don't even think of that as being something like a big deal. Trying to think of like when I perform. I've never gotten anything like said to me, luckily. But yeah, that's super, super hard if anybody says anything like remotely like,
well, I say negative because like there's criticism and there's just negative comments.
yeah, I don't know. I don't I can't think of any, which is awesome. Which is lucky.
That's good though. Cause like
Yeah,
everybody I always ask that to always gives me a story, and I'm like, yeah, I get you. I'm in that boat. I know
right.
that story. So
Yeah.
that's good to hear that you haven't got anything. So you must be doing something right then.
Oh, I'm trying to think of like the times I perform live, but no one's ever like said anything at those. And so then I guess it's mainly just online where people would like
Just be on,
say,
yeah.
yeah, be more like honest. And so I think, and so it's funny because I had, so you know how I haven't been on the Instagram like doing my funny videos for a long time,
Yeah.
and a new coworker got on and was like made a comment on a video and said like, you don't sound like a dying cat. I don't know what that person was talking about. And I was like, what? And sure enough, there's a comment on that, like on one of my videos that says like, you sound like a dying cat. But
How,
like,
how do you
I
know
just
what a dying cat sounds
I
like?
just read it as a joke. Like, what is that?
That's
It's
wild.
so that's my only, like, story that I can think of that but that at that point, like, that comment was made, and I didn't even know it was there.
That's
So
one.
that's and, like, being in the moment, and then you're like, "What?" So,
That's crazy. But you know,
yeah.
it's not. It's one thing to be like, man, you sound terrible. You sound bad. But it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, but like, how you're not telling me anything to improve. Like, how am I supposed to make a better sound? That's not bad if you're not telling me why it's bad. Tell
Yeah.
me I sound like a dying cat. Okay,
Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
you
Yeah.
must have some issues if you know what dying cats sound like. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. But in any case, though, that's good. So let's reverse the question. What is the most positive comment you ever got?
Probably your comments, to be honest.
Really?
I don't know. I was really flattered this one time I performed, and the mother of like a young girl came up and was just like, "This is so cool. I like my daughter like loved your performance and like she wants to." It's like it's just a compliment for them to be like, "Tell us how you got into this." And I'm like, "Oh, I just started playing guitar." And you feel like for one small second that you're like some role model or like you helped somebody and you're like, "Cool." But it wasn't a compliment to my singing. It was just like, "Oh, you performed well," or like but I really don't ever get compliments like, "Oh, your voice is pretty." And so that that would eat at me, but I don't think about it too much, and I'm like, "Well, I've never taken voice lessons, so really, like, why would people compliment me on my voice when that's not really the thing that's like great? It's just the music that I compose and my personality that makes my performance good. It's not necessarily my voice, which is interesting.
I think you're being a little too hard on yourself now. Because okay,
Well,
I understand that singing and performing are two different things,
yeah.
but it
Well,
takes a
exactly.
lot
That's
of
what I'm
it.
saying.
It takes a lot of effort to do that, though. Regardless, like if somebody
Yeah,
compliments you on your performing, that means you did a really good job keeping the crowd engaged. Because anybody can sing, but nobody can really like
exactly.
keep that person like enthralled into it, you know. But you
Yeah,
do have a
yeah.
good voice, from what I've heard and from
Yeah,
what
I
I can
think
tell.
like my voice is good enough like I can carry the tune and it sounds good and I can sing high and I can sing low and like but I don't necessarily feel like I have the most beautiful voice and people will just like listen because of my voice, but they'll listen because I'm like engaging and I'm like looking at them and I'm like doing whatever I try to do to like get them to participate. So
Well,
yeah,
well, a good way to test that would be again record something that's it's like strictly audio. It's strictly audio, and then
yeah,
put that out there, and then see how that does. Because in and of itself, like split second isn't the highest of quality. It's good, but it's a good quality. It's good for what it is. Because
it's yeah,
but it's still your voice there. You know, it might sound like you're in an empty room, but it's still you
yeah,
singing, and it still sounds good. Like you can still hear the parts of your voice that come out, you know, that are there that
right,
people can hear. So I would, if I were you, I'd try to promote that and see if you really want to see how honest people see take your voice for, then you'll be able to do that. Just put it out there. You be like, look, this is
right,
here. You could even put it on IGTV and then just kind of link it and then swipe up. People swipe up and they'll listen to it like immediately.
yeah,
That way you can get more of a gauge on how people hear your
yeah,
voice. But I think it's good. Um, it's always good to be able to be a type of performer for like people who are out there in the crowd that can see that, because again they could performing isn't easy. I know that from a fact. I don't get stage fright, but like I'm not as like active as I should be because I don't really go out to perform as much. I perform maybe
yeah.
maybe like 8 times at max, and three of those were auditions, and then
Oh,
the other rest were actually performances. My favorite comment I got when I was performing though I I would say, because I don't have what you have. I can't be like I have a beautiful voice. You know, I don't get those type of comments. I wish,
Well,
but
I
like
don't either.
thank
That's what
you.
I'm saying.
But there's a talent in the writing and in the way you play too. You know, there's a talent to all that. My
Right.
favorite comment though was, well, this is when I was in school. This is back when I was, I don't know, maybe like 2011 ish. I was at the school. I was doing a performance there. I was kind of pushed into it. Like I wasn't really like asked. They're like, you should do it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. And then I completely forgot about it. And so what happened was, they have morning lunch. They had the performance during the lunchtime, so all the people were out. Kind of went into like the NPR, multi-purpose room, whatever. And they were there. I wasn't nowhere near there. I was somewhere off in the field just eating, because I didn't want to be around people at that time.
Yeah.
So my homie came up to me. He's like, "Yo, Doug, they're looking for you." And I'm like, "What? Yeah, you need to perform." I'm like, "Was this now?" Yeah, I
You're like, dang
guess.
it.
I guess so. I'm like, you should have told me before I ate. That would have helped.
Right.
Anyway, so I go on stage. I have no idea what to perform. I was really unprepared. So for the first I want to say, I don't know, 5 minutes, I was trying to figure out how to like stall. So what I did was I rapped something off the top of my head, just to kind of, because they were trying to set up my phone to play audio so I can
Oh
do
yeah.
instrumentals. So I kind of just went, right? And then I was like, okay, I got to keep this up. Just keep rapping something ridiculous, you know? And then at one point, the beat turns on, and I'm like, finally, thank you. Thank you. So I go into the song that I had written at that time, perform it, I get off stage, and then this guy comes up to me. He's like, yo, that first part wasn't written, huh? And I was, in my head, I'm like, is it that obvious? And then he's like, man, that was cool, dog. I like the way you transitioned it when you were writing.
Yeah.
I was just amazed by how you flowed so so vibrantly. It just went into it. It was so eloquent, and I'm like, thank you. I'm surprised you know what that word is, but thank you. And then it made me feel good. I was like, you know what? Because I remember at one point I looked at him when I was performing, because like I always try to keep
Oh
eye contact
yeah.
with people, and then like you just see like the light in somebody's eyes when you're performing. Is you need to tell if you're doing good or you're doing bad, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing it for that one person out there that gets it, you know.
Yeah.
And from there, kind of, that's what made me feel better about performing.
That's
But
so good.
it wasn't
I'm
like
so glad.
your rhymes are the sickest. Well, I don't hear that either, you know. It's like every now and then, but it's mostly like you do it because you enjoy it, and it's
Yeah.
good to get a compliment every now and then. But I try not to rely on it too much, because
Right.
it's like a YouTube video, for instance, right? How many YouTube videos do you watch? Like I don't know, in a month,
I don't know, not as much anymore, but like music videos I watch.
right? Right? How many do you like?
Oh, I do like some. I'm doing that more now, actually. But I usually don't. Like,
Exactly.
you just
Pe- pe-
watch. It's
People
not.
watch it, they enjoy it, but they never comment, they never
Yeah,
like.
and I'll even like share it with a friend, and I won't like it. So it's
So it's easier to be like, yo,
yeah.
I don't like your stuff for this reason. They'll go in the comments and type it out, whatever. But it's not as easy to get like a like or a comment or whatever in that instance,
Mm.
because most people kind of are just either too lazy or they kind of just forget. Which is kind of, it's natural, you know, what people for it. But like usually you don't get as positive reviews, even though the people who do enjoy it.
Right. Yeah. It's so true.
Hold on. So over the course of this, we have like 2 comments. So let's see. Who are you talking to? So I guess we should intro you again. So before we kind of close this out, I kind of wanted to ask you one thing. If you can work
Okay.
with any artist, like let's say for future plans, right? Who would they be?
Oh. Well, this guy, David Archuleta, I don't know if you've heard of him, came to Utah, let's see, before the end of the year. I don't know at what point. And I heard him sing, and I just thought, okay, it'd be super cool to do a collaboration with like someone famous that's not too famous, but like it's doable. And I started writing down all of these like basic things I needed to do in order to be in a position where I could perform with someone that is that caliber. And it was really cool because it was like I would want studio practice and I'd probably take voice lessons, and it's cool to have that as a motivation because you could like work on things if you think, well, what if I was going to go ask so and so to perform with me, or the other way around, maybe like, hey, can I perform with you, or like, can I do this song with you? Like you'd want x amount of experience before you can do that, and so it helps you like get there, which is cool.
So what's stopping you?
No, I wrote those things down. Nothing's stopping me.
No, I mean like, have you tried to take vocal lessons lately?
No.
You see, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, I haven't like found anybody to teach me yet.
Have you actively looked though?
No.
That's a part.
Yeah, so I really haven't done anything on that list, but that's because, priorities changed, and like right now I'm taking this 12-week course on starting and growing a business, and I'm totally applying it to music, and I'm kind of focusing right now on that and seeing I'm thinking about like a music workshop, or I've kind of done an idea where, so I like work in a corporate company, and I've worked for multiple companies, and they all have like times when they're like, let's go on a team outing and let's go like bowling or go-kart racing or whatever. And
Okay.
there's different like team building experiences, and so I've thought of like bringing my music into like to the company and doing like an hour long just like team building music workshop, and I've done it for two companies so far and it was really cool, but I haven't gotten paid for it. I just like tried it out,
Hmm.
and so that's kind of an idea that I'm working on, but yeah.
Well, that's good. That's a good idea. It's funny because like yeah, there's a business aspect to all the music too. It's always something that people tend
Yeah.
to overlook. Because when you first start out with music, for me, I never thought about editing my stuff, recording my stuff. There's promoting in it that people don't really used to see. Like back in the day, there wasn't really
Yeah.
any method unless you go outside and fucking give people your CD.
Right.
Um, that's a really good idea for bringing artists together, because this is why I like to make these type of things like podcasts or like talk to people about music, because like you get to bounce different ideas, you get to see different perspectives, because we come from two different
Right.
genres technically, but we made that
Yeah.
song that worked. In my opinion, I heard that I wanted to make something like how the Kesha and Macklemore song was, because I heard it and I'm like, man, that's a cool collaboration. Who's the closest person I know who sounds somewhat in that range? And I'm like, oh yeah, Bethany. She's has that
Yeah,
very
totally.
country focused style sound, and it's amazing. Um, for me, there's a lot that needs to be put into music for me. So when I think business, it's like, yeah, I have to fund myself, because a lot of what I have here, like I have the foam, I have the microphone, I have the setups, the cameras, and everything, I did on my own. I built it up, I
Yeah.
saved up, I worked for it, because you have to invest in yourself. When I was younger,
Right.
I had this one cheap mic, and that's the one I used for like years, so like 4 or 5 years, and it was really low quality. I think it was a performance mic, but I got it for free because somebody gave it to me. And it's like, man, I don't want to upgrade from this. Why am I going to invest in it when I just hope people can hear the words? But how are they going to hear the words when the mic quality is bad, man? And I'm like, it took me meeting Jess in order to me to actually get a new mic. Because she
Yeah.
told me, she's like, why don't you ever invest in yourself? I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
Because it's what you need to do. Because this mic I bought on a sale, Cyber Monday on Amazon for
Oh,
a real good
nice.
price. Everything, and a lot of the setup I have and learned to set up was from me being in England with Clive Nolan. He's a music producer, he's writer slash whatever two bands he was, Pent Dragon or something like that, and then he writes musicals. So that boy has like two studios, one in his garage, and then one upstairs is like his personal studio, and it like folds into the cement walls and everything. It's super cool. So I copied his style because this wall folds. I
Oh,
brought
that's
that
cool.
from there here, so I took notes and everything. I'm like, yeah, but he didn't know I was doing it though. In any case, there's a lot of business because he asked me a question. He's like, yo, what is your main goal? How do you plan on achieving the ideas and career that you want? Because you have to do something with it, right? And I'm like, yeah. So it's like, how do you do this? How do you what steps are you taking? So I always try to ask myself that and make sure I'm on the right path to
Yeah.
make the career and everything. That's why, yeah, there's always a need for collaboration, connections, and just
Yeah.
a steady flow of content that you make that you have to either put like you have to put your heart into it too. That way you don't lose
Right.
the soul of it all. But thank you so much for coming out here and talking to me and everything. I love learning different
Yeah.
perspectives and new ideas from it all. Um, it's cool to learn your background because a lot of people don't really like go into depth about that. And what I like about your stuff too is that you're not afraid to show that like that your stuff isn't like polished.
Yeah.
It, it's
Yeah.
it's
That's a
rough.
good way.
It's rough, but it has heart. It has heart and passion to it, and that's great, in my opinion.
Thank you.
That's why I like it. I'm like, yeah, make more of the comedy skits videos that you see on the
Yeah.
Instagram. Again, you can follow her, Bethany.music, BETHANY .music on Instagram, because a lot of that is what kind of lacks in music nowadays. A lot of it's very generic, very just out there polished stuff that doesn't like. There's no soul
Yeah.
into it now, whether it's from country to hip hop or whatever. So
Right.
that's just me. So again, thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy and you gotta
Yeah,
do
this
some
was
stuff.
fun. Thanks.
If you ever want to join me again, let me know. I'll fix this up and I'll get it right this time.
Awesome. Yeah, we should do it again.
So again, Bethany stuff. Her newest song, or latest song, is "Split Second" on SoundCloud. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you plan on
Thanks.
making any songs in the future?
Yeah, I need to just I have some songs I need to record. It's kind of on a backlog. So
All right. Well, let me know when you got some new stuff too. We'll bring you back on and then we'll showcase them all off. You
yeah.
know.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Of course, I love supporting other artists. That's the thing about me. I
Yeah,
guess
thank you for the support. Like seriously, that's
whenever I see an artist, I always try to support because we're always out here on our grinds, and most people don't see that. So again,
yeah.
thank you. So you have a good day. Thank you for joining me, Bethany. I really
Yeah, have a
appreciate you
good
taking time.
weekend.
You take care.